It's true all the time.
Views and opinions are not necessarily that of Beyond the Strange, host, guests, and affiliated.
You have everything. They're just balls of light, of light, of light, of light. There's a ghost in the house.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are here on a special Thursday night edition of Beyond the Strange, and we are coming to you live from the Napa Valley Wine Country, just outside the Sonoma Mountains. And we got a really good show for you tonight. And I am so stoked that, I haven't done YouTube in quite a while, but it's just been like, I don't know. How long has it been? It's been so long. But anyways, it's been real fun. And Russ Bailey, thank you for joining us in the YouTube chat room. Also, I'm just like looking at everything. I got two screens now. This is just like really crazy. I haven't done this in quite a while. But anyways, that's beside the point. This is really awesome to be here tonight. And we got a really good show for you tonight. Tonight, a friend of mine that I've managed to make a friendship over the years that I've been doing the show has joined me tonight to talk about some really interesting things that he's doing. And I really wanted to get him on the show. I've been wanting to get him on the show for quite a while. And it's just, it's like kind of like a hit and miss kind of thing. But now we definitely are ready to do this. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and introduce Devon Stutzman. I hope I pronounced that right. You can kill me later. Loves to blend ideas of religion, occultism, UFO, extraterrestrials, and science all together. He feels like he needs to get the most original, unedited information, which would be the older editions of the books. Devon's fascination with all things related to the paranormal in his life is contributed, he feels, is from being raised in the Jehovah's Witnesses religion. He enjoyed the religious teachings and also had a UFO sighting at a young age. Devon feels once you combine all those things, you get a true meaning to life. And he strives to collect things around that nature. You can find Devon on Instagram under Ethereal .books. If not, he'll fix it here in a second. I'm about to bring him on right now. Devon, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Hello, thank you for having me on. Yes, it's ethereal ._.books. So it makes like kind of a face with a deadpan smile on it. That's how I picture it.
Nice. I didn't even think of it that way. That's awesome.
That's how I remember it. Try to remember it.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Let me see here. What am I doing? I got to go back over to this part. And yes. Okay. So thank you for joining us tonight, man. I really appreciate it. And like I said, this is just a regular conversation between you and me. Don't even worry about all the people who are watching or listening right now. It's all good. Don't worry about that at all. And it's gonna be a nice, fascinating evening, and it'll go by so quick you won't even if you blink you're gonna miss it. So. And I'm doing this live on YouTube, drinking stuff. So that's so unprofessional of me, but hey, whatever. it's my show. I can do what I want. But yeah, Devon, thanks again. So
Thank you.
let's just get a little bit of history on you. When did you start? God, I can't even pronounce the way you pronounce it. Ethereal.
Ethereal or
Ethereal.
however you want. I've heard it multiple different ways. I
Ethereal.
started it probably, I'd say maybe a little over a year ago. Just to sell some of the older books, and just all that stuff that we were mentioning before, the occultism, the extraterrestrial, the secret societies, just everything around the nature of spirituality or forbidden, hidden knowledge kind of things. I collect it myself, so I figured I could make some money selling them, and then some of the ones that I don't need or have multiple copies of or am not that interested in, to make money for my personal collection, saying that it's kind of pricey once you start getting the original copies of things. So selling some of those and then getting money for it, it kind of funds itself. Plus, I like getting those books and looking them over before I send them out to somebody else who's going to appreciate them, hopefully just as much as I do.
Now, some of those books I'm looking at are in your bookcase behind you. Is that correct?
Yeah, so these are all mine here. There's some more put away and hidden away, but yeah, these ones are all mine. The ones for sale I have kept away just so I don't end up knocking them over when I'm rearranging or something, and then I have to tell people they're not available anymore. But yeah, these ones are all mine. There's some more stowed away, but yeah, I have them in different sections up here, and then there's other sections around.
How do you categorize your books?
On the top one, I have like religious, like all religions, Christianity, Catholicism. Just as not, there's not a lot up there because the other newer stuff I have stowed away just because the older leather bindings look nicer than the new ones, so I have them displayed more. But the second shelf, what is that? That's just more miscellaneous kind of. I have those in little subsections on there. Crystal gazing. There's one called Human Animals. I find that one really interesting. It's from 1920, I believe. It has stories of werewolves, and like any animal transfiguration kind of story. It has all those, and it's cool because it's from 1920, and those stories are from even before that. And it connects them and how African tribes or Native American tribes had their stories and legend of animals. What else do I have up there? I have just crystal gate, like I said, palmistry, dowsing with the pendulum, just a miscellaneous section. The third shelf is some newer stuff on there. That's UFOs and like I was telling you before, I need to get newer stuff because like the old stuff with UFOs, there's not a lot of information out yet, but as time goes on, more is getting out there. So I need to realize that having a new book and reading that is not bad. I don't need to only read the first editions that are unedited or from that time period because they didn't know the stuff they do now in that regard. And then the bottom shelf is Max Heindo, which is one of my favorite authors, Theosophy, and then Manly P. Hall, just kind of stowed there. Some of their older editions. I have the new ones up there, but those are all the first, second, thirds, hardcover, original.
Well, we're definitely going to get into some of those authors and also some of the non-literature things that you collect. We'll get into that, of course. I just want to let people know so they understand. How old are you right now?
I'm 20.
You're 20.
Yeah,
man.
just turned 20. Yeah, August 14th. Turned 20.
This young man is so impressive. I got to tell you guys because. You know, it's like when I was 20, I was not doing this. You know, I wasn't even reading as much as I should have been. And, you know, for someone like Devon to did I pronounce your last name by the way correctly?
Yes, yeah, you do.
Stutzman,
yeah.
right?
Stutzman, yeah.
Stutzman. And hey Mari, how are you doing? Good to see you guys. Michael Jordan, thanks for joining us in the chat room, by the way. Yeah, we were speaking with Devon Stutzman, and this young man is 20 years old, and I'm telling you that I wasn't doing anything like this, anything at all at this age. So I am very impressed. I commend you on what you're doing. Now, we talked a little bit the other day, and I got a little bit of your history. So, can you give us an idea of what started getting you into the paranormal? And I know that you've had some paranormal encounters at a very young age. So, can you kind of start off with that?
Well, like with my fascination with religion and just spirituality in general, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. I'm no longer a Jehovah's Witness, not a part of them. Um, I have nothing against them, like I said to you before. It's just
Sure.
we had to. There's certain things you can't do when you're in an organization or you're not supposed to do. And not that if you're part of that organization, you shouldn't do that. So we parted our ways. I have no resentment towards them or anything like that. But I was a Jehovah's Witness at a young age, and I was reading the Bible stories in the Bible and all the stories of like Nephilim and giants and angels and the book of Ezekiel, which has those flaming the spinning wheels with eyes on them and the
Hmm.
wings of the beast-headed angels, and all that stuff was super interesting to me, and I loved it. Um, in the book of Revelation with all its seals and its beasts and all that kind of thing. So that really sparked my interest in biblical and religious kind of things. And then when I was younger, about like say 5 or 6, I had a UFO encounter. What you were mentioning before,
Right.
I remember I was really religious as a kid, even at that age. And I remember I lit a bunch of incense because I remember reading in a Bible passage that to praise God or pray to Him, you light a bunch of incense. And I was praying and praying, and then all of a sudden I look up and there's a UFO right there, like the classic how you would see a UFO. And it had a green glow to it, and I stared at it and I was amazed. And it wasn't a scary or unsettling feeling, but it was just a complete amazement. And the fact that it happened while I was doing that even was more strange to me. Um, and it just left an imprint on me really deep. My mom came out and saw it when I called her, and so she confirms it to this day to show that I'm not, hallucinating it or anything like that because I was young.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that left an imprint on me, and then obviously I'm going to read into UFOs and aliens and extraterrestrials and be super. It's this deep feeling of I don't know excitement when I think about the topic or look up anymore. I always try and look for those kinds of things again. Um, and then that all really founded my basis of wanting to be in this stuff now. I didn't collect back then because I honestly didn't know you really could get this kind of stuff. I don't know why I didn't know, but I didn't know. And I was telling you before, my friend in Lakewood, Ohio, has a
Mm.
shop. Um, and I walked in and I seen all the things that he has, and they're all old, original. He has other stuff besides spirituality or occult stuff, like medical and all that, but just an antique oddities shop. And I realized that you can get this stuff, and then he helped me find some of the stuff, and then I just went crazy with collecting it now. And I'm suspicious about reading newer translations of books because I believe that there's editing that goes on throughout
Uh,
time periods. And
yeah, I was
I
going
mean,
to
there
mention that.
obviously is from
Hmm.
additions and phrasings and just small things that people don't think matter, but I do if you're especially in esoteric works where it's all about symbolism and phrasing. You can't change things up because you really ruin meanings. So I try and get original ones of those. And that's about there is for the basis of it. There's more small details, but that's really what founded my fascination and passion for this stuff.
And how long have you been doing the trading and selling, or just what you're doing right now?
With the buying and then the selling of it, only about a year and a half. My business is only on Instagram where I sell things. I try and do a normal, like a nice, reasonable price on them, not way crazy but just, and I barter with people too because I want to get them the knowledge out there too. It's not just about money for me, so I try and make it for they want the books just like I want them. So, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, I started that about year ago, year and a half. It hasn't taken off too big because I haven't gotten a lot of. I mean, there's a little bit. I sell a decent amount. Most of my older stuff has already been sold, but but yeah, like I said, it's not mainly for the money, but it is nice to be able to have the money to fund more of my stuff, and then not only fund that, but also fund putting more books into the onto the Instagram to be able to sell and ship out for people.
How hard is it to find some of these books that you really, really want to get? Like, say you want to get, you're looking for like a Manly P. Hall edition that is like, something you really want, and then you find that it might be hard to get. How difficult?
Depending on the book, it can be very hard. There was two books I was looking for, and this is Edward Beeler Lytton. I was telling you about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that was an author for. He said the pen is mightier than the sword. He made the quote "A dark and stormy night," which was for a competition to make the worst line for an opening story, and he said that one, and it won the competition. He was a real famous politician in one of those kind of, it was, he was offered the crown of Greece, I know that, and he declined it. Anyway, he was rumored to be a Rosicrucian back is the 1800s. He's rumored to be a Rosicrucian. A Rosicrucian society actually said that he was like a grand member of theirs. He denied the account and said he was not. But his stories, two of them in particular that I find the most interesting, were very hinting at esoteric and occult in the way of hidden and secret teaching, secret society stuff. He wrote one called The Zanoni and then The Coming Race. The Zanoni is a romance tale about Rosicrucianism and a Rosicrucian lifestyle with a lot of hidden things in there. And The Coming Race is about a kind of an early Hollow Earth theory, where people, these miners that were mining into the earth, they go deep inside and one of them dies, the other one finds this whole subterranean race of people. Extremely interesting. I haven't gotten too far into that one, but I'm really excited to get into it. Anyway, those original copies were really hard to find, like old ones of them. And I have gotten two, I got both of them, and I bought them separately, but it coincidentally happened to be the same set of books. They came from the same exact set, which I found crazy because usually when you buy two things separate from different sellers, or it was the same seller, but he was selling them. It even said they were from a different set, but they were the same when I got them. And then I got two old CDB cards. I think that's what they're called, the little picture cards of Edward Beeler Lytton, from the 1800s. And I have these right here. Here's the book. They're the leather bound. I don't know if you can see that well, but the leather bound, old, the marble on them. Very nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
Two of those, The Coming Race and that one. And then here's the pictures of him here. Hopefully the glare isn't too bad.
Not too bad. Now this is Edward Lytton.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah. Edward Beeler Lytton, but Edward Lytton, yeah.
Edward Beeler Lytton. Okay.
He influenced a lot of occult, even if he wasn't a Rosicrucian, or he was, or whatever you want to say, he still influenced a great deal of societies. The Theosophical Society with Blavatsky, they mentioned him a lot in their pamphlets and in their books. He coined the phrase "dweller on the threshold," which I believe in certain. I don't quote me, but in certain things, it's like when you go to a certain point of ascension, there is a dark figure that represents all of your badness, and you need to overcome that to get to the next one. He made the phrase. It's actually in the Zanoni where he makes that, because once the Rosicrucian guy gets to a certain point, he has to deal with that, I believe. What else? And there's a negative connotation with one of the Coming Race books, because the Nazis misinterpreted in a lot of Nazi occult circles, believing that the coming race was a coming Aryan race. Obviously, that's misconstrued with their views of just trying to be superior and use things to, just like what they did to the swastika. They turn a good luck or a Hindu symbol into something evil. But yeah, that's Edward Beeler Lytton. Those books were hard to find. Older editions, you can find newer ones, obviously, but those old ones were hard to find. And I got them though. But it all depends on the book that you're looking for. Some are more common, and it depends on, like I said, what you're looking for.
Interesting. We actually have a question for you, Devon, in the chat room, and Mike Jordan. Not the Michael Jordan, of course, but I don't know. It could be, but no, I'm just kidding. He might like magic, but no. Now, Mike Jordan wants to know if do you have any books that pertain to what's going on today?
With What do you mean, like the?
Probably like like an Edgar Casey kind of book, or maybe something with prophecies. I'm guessing, Mike, if you want to clarify that, but I'm guessing maybe you've read something. I mean, there's the Bible has revelations, but
Yeah.
but I mean something to that effect. I'm assuming that's what he's asking.
So, I mean, I have some of the newer books, like the more not conspiracy, because there's a lot of negativity around that term lately, but open-ended investigation books that have some things. They're usually the newer ones that weren't just from now, the time period now, but a little bit before that. Trying to think.
Anything to do
Not
with
quite
UFO?
sure.
He's clarifying. He's trying to ask.
UFOs.
Yeah, that pertains to the world
I
today.
have one from called Aboard a Flying Saucer. I believe that was 1950.
Ooh,
And
nice.
then I have Flying Saucers Have Landed. That one is also an older one around that same time period. They're not extremely old, 1950s, 40s era time period, but
50 years old.
not
That's old.
1800s or anything like that. There is one that I find extremely interesting. I'm going to grab it right now because some of the pronunciations on it is hard. But it is The Earths in Our Universe by Swedenborg. That one was super interesting. I haven't read the entire thing, but I've gotten pretty far into it. And that one is indirectly talking about like aliens and extraterrestrials and the vehicles they use. And this one's older too. This one is, let me see, 1894.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty old.
And it's hard to find old 1800s books that talk about extraterrestrials, and they don't come right out and say aliens and stuff like that because that wasn't the term, or UFOs. But this one is talking about how he has perceived. I forget what the story on him was, but he was saying how he perceives them there's life on each planet, and it mocks humanity kind of, but not mocks it in a mean way, but like mirrors humanity, and it's on a different dimensional frequency, and you can see that. And he obviously says it in a little more poetic and 1800s language kind of way, not modernized on a fourth dimension level, but yeah, that one is it's called The Earths in Our Universe. That one is extremely interesting if you're really into extraterrestrials and stuff like that, and you're looking for an older book that talks about that.
And the author was who again? I'm sorry.
His last name's Swedenborg. His first name is Emmanuel Swedenborg.
Okay, Emmanuel Swedenborg. Yeah. Got it. Okay, there you go,
yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mari actually comes in and says that the time period you were talking about, the 50s, of course, that was still a good time. It was a good time era for media hype before conspiracies and secrets pertaining to UFOs and flying saucers, if you will, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, the 50s. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's around the same time as Project Blue Book, of course, started kicking off, if you will. So, did you investigate or research any of those type of projects, government,
like the Project Blue Book and stuff like that?
Right. Have you ever?
I've read into it I've read into it online. I've never bought an actual physical copy because I don't think there is one that's like physically available to the public. So I haven't bought any because I don't know where they're coming from. If there is one that is a good, reliable source, I will be glad to get it. But I've read into them online and watched videos and stuff like that on those. I do like that, and like the alien races and all that kind of thing. I enjoy those.
Yeah, I don't know if Dr. Ellen Hynek actually wrote any books during that time period. I think all of his reporting just went right to the government. So we can pretty much kiss that stuff goodbye. I'm pretty sure, and then along with the editing, like you were saying, there's a lot of, like you said, a lot of stuff does probably just get edited, and then
and then they'll release something to make you feel like you've gotten a complete edition, but then it's just all skewed and you can't
A lot of stuff gets
I mean,
lost in
sometimes it's
translation.
not the case, but yeah.
And that kind of sucks. But it is what it is. I mean, what, the Bible has been translated how many times, and
Yeah.
I mean, we still kind of get somewhat of an understanding, but a lot does get lost in translation. Some of the Greek words are not, they don't mean exactly what the words are in English, and then you have something different. So do you see that at all? I mean, are there other books that you try to get, or do you try to read that are in a different language, but then it's translated, the closest to the translation as possible?
Yeah, even that Emanuel Swedenborg one, that one is a translation from Latin, I believe. I don't know what the Latin one says. I can't read those languages, unfortunately, to compare them. But with like older Bibles and stuff, I've seen it. I mean, I have the one up there. It's an 1870s like family Bible. It's a huge, giant thing. And it still has the apocryphal books in it, some of them. Not the newest ones like that are recently discovered. I believe Enoch was newerly discovered. Still, it was from that time period, but it was just recently unearthed. Yeah, that one. And if you compare certain Bibles with that one, the translations are completely different. I mean, we obviously know the Bible has many translations, and certain phrases and metaphors given were changed. And you can't really change a metaphor if it's using certain things. A metaphor has a lot of meaning in what it's saying, and using
Right.
those symbols, you can't change that unless you're changing the entire meaning. So it gets blurry there. Max Heindel and what was it, Rudolf Steiner, my one author that I like, Max Heindel, Rudolf Steiner, they had a little falling out because they liked each other at first, and Max Heindel didn't like him anymore. And one of his books, his magnum opus, big deal book that combines all his other smaller books together, was originally dedicated to him and had certain translations like praising him. And then the later edition did not have that in it anymore. So the first two editions have it, and then the second edition does not, which I find cool to see the differences there. But yeah, some of the books that are newer after these authors pass away, there's more illustrations in some of the newer ones, or there's less illustrations in the newer ones. There's certain phrasings that there's chapters missing, or there's chapters added. And I want to read the books that how the author intended them to be read, not after they died and
Sure.
there's something missing or added or switched around, and you just never know why the reason is for that. You don't. So you don't know if it's maliciously intended or if it's maybe they're just trying to clean up the book and it's in another book. But still, I'd
Yeah.
rather just have the original and read it over twice if I have to.
No, that's true. That I understand what you're saying. It's again, we don't know exactly what, like, a lot of these. God, I hate keep going back to the Bible, but it's just,
Yeah.
I grew up with in church a lot, kind of like you. But I really didn't pay attention to the way the prophets wrote,
Yeah.
and it was a King James version, and so it had a lot of ye and thou, and a lot of that. And then if you go into the international version, a lot of that's taken out. There's it's just modern English. It's no longer Old English. So so many things gets lost in translation, I think, and I think it's important. And I like what you're doing with going right for the original stuff.
Yeah.
Question though, what I wanted was, I'll get back to that question, but Mari in the YouTube chat would like to know if you have any insight on dream time, like spiritual realms within that connect to the dimensions. Do you have any type of dreams? I guess Mari wants to know that have any insight
Pertaining to this kind of stuff, I mean, I recall my dreams later after I have them. So by the time that I have them, I'm almost thinking that the thing. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I'll have like more future happenings dreams, but not too much. Like I was saying before, I know a lot of things, but I feel like I'm slightly out of tune with all these things. You said that I wasn't, but I feel like I'm a little out of tune with the more subtle things happening. Um, I try to be in tune. I do believe in almost everything to an extent.
Yeah, sure.
But as far as my personal, I feel like my brain is too pointed on the physical than it is the more metaphysical or etheric realm kind of thing. I believe in it and I love reading about it. I have one called The Fourth Dimension, which was actually not written to be a metaphysical book,
Hmm.
but it was a mathematical book about the fourth dimension. That one was kind of hard to find. I posted about it on my personal Instagram pictures of that one. That one's really interesting. I haven't gotten extremely far into that one, but just the beginning. I mean, it's a lot of math and logical explanations on how there is a fourth dimension. I do believe in dreams being a connection to that. I do believe in, like I said, everything to some extent. It's just as far as me pinpointing it for myself is
Yeah.
harder than me pinpointing it in other either people or reading it.
Right.
So yes and no. I don't. Let's say.
No, that's perfectly fine, man. That's a great explanation, and I'm sure that a lot of these books and a lot of this literature has some kind of influence, of course, and maybe there's some kind of gateway by osmosis. You never know. So, you can definitely keep doing that. And I personally learned to have a dream journal. So
Mm-hmm.
if I have a really, I don't want to say crazy or trippy dream, but I do have them, and sometimes I
Yeah.
want to know what exactly that was about. For instance, last night I had a bizarre dream of, and my cousin who passed away from COVID-19 just about a month ago was in my dream, and he was standing right next to me, just
Yeah.
like nothing ever happened. It was
Yeah. I've
it
had
was
similar things like that.
and
But
yeah, sure, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say is it's like I could feel that there was something not right about him being there, but I didn't put it together until later on in the dream. I do tell myself once in a while in these dreams, hey, I'm just dreaming, so
Yeah.
I just go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
I had a
pretty
similar
bizarre.
thing with my uncle after he passed away. I saw him in the dream, and it left an impact on me after that. It's just this weird subconscious feeling, that's more than what it is. But yeah, I believe in dreams being a communication. I mean, not only subconscious, but you're in a different frame of mind. Your mind is extremely powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It can influence everything around you in the physical sense and in the metaphysical sense and all that kind of thing. It's it's more powerful than we give it credit. And once it's in that deep sleep and you're not controlling it, meant like consciously controlling it, it can slip in and out of different states for sure, I believe. And that's goes along. I mean, it's in the Bible, it's in the UFO experiences, it's in
Oh yeah.
the secret societies, it's in every literature. And that's the thing that I mainly like doing. Like when you were giving the introduction, combining all these things together is just
Yes.
the biggest thing, because the Bible, people think that, I think society's biggest problem is medicine and science and religion and occultism and metaphysical feelings. They keep them all separate, and if you believe in one, you can't believe in the other. If one person likes one thing, the other person has to hate the other person that doesn't believe in it. If you combine all these things, though, I feel like you'll get a beautiful combination because they do fit together. I mean, Max Heindel in his books, he talks about a creative evolution. He
Mm.
believes in an evolution, but he also believes in a creator. He believes something pushed it along to make things evolve the way that they are, because so he believes in a God and he believes in science of where it's going together, and there's something, not a man or whatever you want to believe, but something big, a grand architect, like the Masons say, the grand architect of the universe, how they are influencing the building blocks. I mean, just like a human builds a car model or a phone model, and you see it through the ages, it's slowly becoming more and more advanced to where it is now.
Sure.
There's something behind those building up to it. And I mean, I believe that's the same with that. So science and religion, they can fill each other's gaps where they don't know for sure, or UFO encounters and science and all of that, they can just fill each other's gaps where there's something not they can get it almost, and then they just have a little gap of we're just not sure. But if you mix in the things that you're forbidden to mix in with them, then I feel like it would smoothly go out.
What's the oldest Heindel book you have?
The oldest Heindel, they have to be early 1900s. He didn't start writing until around then. I have a few first editions. I don't remember what, because I have a bunch of them, probably like 10 of them, and there's more. He writes a bunch of stuff, and most of his stuff this is the first one that I read, was the Freemasonry and Catholicism. I don't know if you can see that good on there.
Yeah.
His books have the rosy cross in the middle with the beams of light coming off, making a star. He has the Sacred Heart right there, the lantern, which is in Masonic symbols of the lantern that they went to. I forget his name. Well, it's a whole parable of Masonry. This is Freemasonry and Catholicism. It's comparing things, the Masonic legends of Hiram and all that. That was the first one that I read. This one is probably one of the older ones. Let me see. This one's 1921. I feel like I have a 1917 somewhere in there. That's a
still
second
pretty old.
edition one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first one that I read. It was super interesting. He's an easy one for me to read. Some authors, it's hard for you to get through. Their writing style is a certain way that you just don't agree with, not agree with, but just don't match with well. I like his writing style. That one compared Freemasonry and Catholicism and gave differences, and kind of did a Rosicrucian parable of the cross representing rigid like masonry and building blocks, and then Catholicism or religion being beauty and splendor and religion and philosophy, and the rose and the cross meeting together, conjoining to make one beautiful thing that fills each other's holes, and that will make the Rosicrucian cross. That would be the ultimate ascension. And this one has it's a lot of symbolism. He was in the Rosicrucian Fellowship. He founded the Rosicrucian Fellowship. He used to be a part of the Theosophical Society. He was a vice president, I believe, of one branch. And not that he disagreed. I feel like he was a Christian mystic. He was very Christian, and he disagreed with certain aspects of Buddhism and Hinduism. Not that I disagree with those aspects. He just personally did, and he went his own way to be more Christian mystic, which, coming from a Jehovah's Witness, which is Christian background, it was easier for me to understand certain aspects of it because that's just my background. I try and understand all the other ones, but just for beginning, when I was first reading it, it really clicked with me. And he formed his own Rosicrucian Fellowship, which is not a part of the original Rosicrucians that you'll read about from a long time ago, and not a part of the New Age Rosicrucian Society out there now. It was its own separate thing. I think it's still active now out in California. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, he founded his own thing. Him and his wife did speeches. I actually have one of his books that was not supposed to be released to the public. It was supposed to be destroyed or returned to the society after the death or departure of the member that owned it. And somehow it came to me. I actually got it for 99 cents. Somebody didn't want it, and it's worth about $400, and there's only 2 other ones out there.
Oh, wow.
But I was really happy with that one. That one has all their secret meetings and their teachings, which are basically more advanced lectures of what they teach in their main books. There's a picture of Heindel inside this book here. I don't know if you can see that there, but yeah,
that's good enough.
Yeah, he was.
Is that a 5-pointed star? Is that a pentacle that's on the other side of him? Kind of look like.
Oh no, that's just the symbol, but it's black and white of the rosy cross with the star on it.
Okay, got it.
It's black and white. It looks like it though. But yeah, he wasn't a Freemason, I don't believe, and he wasn't a part of the Theosophical Society after he left. He had a lot of influence from Rudolf Steiner, which is more well-known Theosophical person, I believe from Germany, or possibly I could be wrong with that one. But yeah, I liked him. He lived an extremely clean lifestyle. He cut out all his bad habits. He used to be a drinker, a gambler, a smoker, all these things. And as soon as he found this, he had a revelation, and he stopped. He doesn't eat meat. He's vegetarian. He's no smoking, no gambling, no drinking. He went completely like full blown. And he apparently got approached by one of the ascended master type figures of the Rosicrucian Fellowship, got initiated, and then wrote his books. A similar story to Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society. A lot of people say that he plagiarized Rudolf Steiner or that he is copying it. I mean, I believe if it's just it's a similar happening with most of these writers. I think they're all not really lying. I believe they all have their own experience on it, just a different level. They each have their version of a message to send, and it clicks with different types of people to get them all together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is amazing stuff. So wanted to get into some more of the things that we talked about. And yes, if you're anyone out there is wondering what I'm looking at, I'm looking at my notes. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie. I am looking at my notes because, I mean, look, we talked. I'm just going to let you guys know that. So, anyways, we talked a little bit about, if you remember, Edward Butcher. Is that right?
Let me think.
Oh,
I
no.
don't remember.
No,
was that Edward Beeler?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was Edward Bueller Winton. Why did I put Butcher? Oh my gosh, I can't even read my own writing. And then I also put colonial politics. What was that about?
That might have been Edward Beeler, and that's what I was forgetting to say. He was a colonial for the colonies. He was a politician over that that time period. Yeah,
right.
That's what I was forgetting to mention earlier too. Yeah, he was. If you look him up, he was pretty famous for the time period. There's political comics of him. Pretty well known author. But yeah, he was into a lot of political stuff. And eventually denounced the crown for Greece, I believe it was. But yeah, he wrote a lot of the occult works, and like we were saying, you said, they're fiction, but they have the symbolism and the hidden meanings in them for those who can understand it. It doesn't come right out and say, this is what you need to do to be a Rosicrucian. This is what you need to do. This is actually what's inside the earth right now. This is the subterranean race. It hints at it, and it tells a story around it, and puts it into a nice, some people believe the Bible is all parable and a story of things that are hidden in code. Or you were saying like a Star Wars or a Lord of the Rings where they have these grand plots, but then they have like giants or extraterrestrial beings or, space government kind of things, which all of those things are based in truth. It's just they can't come right out and say that, because then obviously the media won't take off with it, and
of course not.
It'll be shut down and it won't be a thing. So he was writing about those things for, I believe, the real people to get initiated into, those who have eyes to see and those who have ears to hear, kind of thing there.
So I want to ask, a lot of these books that you have are the first, second editions, very old. I can see, they seem like they're in very, good condition though. I mean, the bindings aren't falling off, or anything like that. Pages are falling out or anything. If people are interested in wanting to go back and look at some of these books, well, how do you recommend that?
What do you mean?
Besides going through you, I mean, of course they should definitely go and check out your, your library.
Trying to find that for themselves, like just trying to acquire them.
Right.
I mean, there is sellers out there. Some of them are decent. I sell them. To check them out and like see if you know exact author and you know an exact name of the book and you're looking for that book and you don't want to read a PDF. There's a website, abebooks.com. Abe Books. You type that in, you do an advanced search on that, and you do like oldest to newest, and you try and find the oldest edition. That always did good for me. Or eBay, or just any bidding or website like that. Just search around, spell things wrong too, because some people that don't know what it is say they found their grandfather's stack of books and they think this old guy's crazy and doesn't know these aren't worth anything. They're just going to put them on there for like 99 cents starting out, probably not spell the names right, and then no one's going to see it come up when they want it, so you're going to find it under under a weird name and bid on it and win it for $1,
But see,
and you got a really awesome book.
the best part about what you're doing though is you do this already for everyone. So
Yeah.
if a person just wants to see that book, they can just go to Instagram and
they
contact
can
you.
look. Yeah. If they want like pictures of the contents or a brief on what it is, I can send them that. But yeah, I sit there and I pour through it. Sometimes it's hours. I'm up till 5 a.m. just reading through random stuff, and I'll find one and it's a great buy, and I'll grab it up. And if I can't replace the book, I usually try not to sell it unless it's something that I'm not very into. I do sell things that are like anti-Catholic, anti-stuff like that, because it gives a different perspective on like, there's like one that's written by an ex-priest, and he was very upset with the Catholic Church and what it was doing, and he wrote that. That necessarily isn't something that I collect just because I can't really gain anything out of that. But some people do like that and they do want it and they can gain something out of it, so I'll sell that. So not everything on there is something that I necessarily will collect, but it's along the same lines of just religion and spirituality and occultism. But yeah, I take the time, I sort through it, I make sure to give the exact dates, the conditions, and all that, and with detailed pictures, because eBay sometimes doesn't have pictures, or that A-Books usually doesn't have pictures. eBay will sometimes have a not great description or a blurry image or just one picture, and I take the risk of getting that for whatever it is. And then, well, if it's sometimes I've gotten really bad things, like they just start fall apart in the dust as soon as I get them. I'm like, well, I'm not going to sell that then. So, I'll just take some pictures out of it and scrap the rest. Yeah. But yeah, there's one old Bible book I got. It was like it was like that one, but it had all the pictures in it. It was Gustave Doré illustrated. It was really nice illustrations and cover. Fell apart as soon as I got it. I'm like, well, I can't do anything with that. So I took all the pictures out and framed some of them, and they're nice now. But the framed pictures go for a lot of them on themselves, but I'd rather sell the whole thing. So I just ended up scrapping what I could get out of it nicely and got rid of the rest that was in dust on the ground.
You do what you can. I mean, with what you have. So there you go. I want to say it's really interesting when we were talking again. I mentioned that I feel that you may have been, of course, reincarnated maybe a few times, and because you have this old soul, coming across. That's how I perceive you, and that perhaps maybe you lived in these time periods that you collect these books when they were written at. What is it that attracts you to these books? What is the appreciation you have for them? That's especially at such a young age. I mean, I keep going back to that because in this time right now, at your age, it's unheard of that that it's like it's like the old saying, these kids these days. It's like I'm serious. It's definitely like it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'd like to know what is the appreciation that you have for these books and literature and all these other things.
I mean, other than the unadulterated contents of just pure original content, I mean, the way they look, the way that they are, I love the old style of like Victorian style and all that. I'm not extremely wealthy, so I can't go out and buy the like grotesque styled wood of faces on chairs and all that kind of thing. But I just love that style and that time period, not just because of the time period, but just because of the boom of original, like the secret societies and the hidden original things. I just love that. And the fact that you can get these original books and actually have them. These were probably held by one of the authors. These were read through by people actually studying on this path and really got somewhere probably. I mean, there's names written in them, there's things underlined. It's really like you're being a part of history. You have a part of history of these. And it's not like with the Lytton photos too. He was in the room when those pictures were taken. He had to be in the presence of that camera. And that's just extremely interesting and awesome to me that can happen. And same with all these books. They've been passed down through people, or they sat in an attic somewhere and just through wars, world wars, and bad people, good people, everybody's. I mean, there's just so much energy in them that is crazy,
Very cool.
part of
we
it.
we definitely have our time's running out. Like I said, it's like that, man. It runs by really fast. So we'll throw
Yeah.
in as much as we can, and you're definitely gonna have to come back and visit once again, and be on the show. One more time. I really appreciate you coming on. Um, we talked a little bit about Crowley, the Golden Dawn OTO. Do you have any interest in magic, esoteric mysticism as far as that's concerned?
Personally, I don't practice anything. I
Okay.
don't get involved with that. I don't have anything against it. I don't think that it's false or anything. I believe what you put your mind to and what you put your energy into definitely results in something powerful. I've read into some of Crowley's things. Like I said before, as soon as I left from the Jehovah's Witnesses, that's one of the first things I kind of gravitated towards because that's one of the most taboo things. And now that I'm not a part of them anymore, I can obviously go into it without judgment or uh, scolding from that.
Hmm.
I don't have any of his original things though. His stuff is extremely expensive and extremely sought after and goes quick even at extremely high prices. So I don't have any of his stuff yet. I plan on eventually getting some of it. And once I get some of Crowley's more original things, I will read through them. And that might take me on a different path down that section of things. Um, but I do appreciate what he did. He uncovered a lot of secret society stuff with the Golden Dawn and ritual things.
Yes.
Um, some things that he did, I mean, is questionable with his personal life, but I do believe that he was meant for that, and he uncovered a lot of things. He blew the whistle on a lot of undercover things. They don't like him obviously for blowing the cover on them, but
I
I
hear both
appreciate
sides.
it because
Yeah, there's two sides to that coin, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
But it definitely. I see what you're saying.
And I mean, I don't believe anything should be held for one specific group of people. I believe it should be open to everybody. And I mean, if you have something so advanced or deep, I mean, it's not for everybody. And people, even if you do make it public, people aren't just going to understand it if they're not meant to understand it. So, just I believe everything should be kind of out there. That's why with the Max Heindel book that was supposed to be his personal private teachings. I have that. I kept it, and I actually posted some of that. And someone was kind of upset because I posted that, and it's supposed to be hidden and secret. But
Oh
I just
wow.
don't believe anything should be secret.
Hmm.
I believe it should be all out there, information free to everybody who wants it. And I mean, obviously, there's people that can do bad things with information, but if it's accessible to more people, I mean, I feel like it would do better than hidden away because people can get to it in hiding spots. There's secret societies that have been run over by bad people and ruined. It would be the same either way. It's just more open to people that don't have the financial or the ability to join certain things. So I believe it should be all free. I don't know what the original question. Oh, it was Crowley and stuff. I
Well,
went
that
off.
pretty much went. No, that was a great answer and very informative, and I agree with a lot of what you said. I also understand that what you mentioned about how there are advances as far as perhaps like with magic that might need to be kind of stored away because some
Yeah,
people might practice it. And I mean, for instance, you have um, Crowley and well, actually, I think it was who's the Dianetics guy, L. Ron Hubbard, and God, I can't think of his name right now, Parsons. Um,
mhm,
that I can't remember. I don't want to say his first name and get it wrong, but Jack Parsons, I think. One of you guys
yeah,
in the chat, you guys want to let me know who that was. But anyways, I heard a story that they were practicing trying to open these portals and letting
yeah.
in interdimensional creatures in, and so that I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but they did it
And I
anyway.
think they took a break or something and didn't close it, and it ended up.
Correct.
Yeah, and I remember what you're talking. Yeah,
Yeah. So in that kind of situation, I can understand where
yeah,
some of these things should not actually be left to the public because they can do some damage out there.
yeah.
Um, and I think that maybe that, some of that stuff needs to be hidden and continue to be
Yeah.
hidden and protected, basically.
Yeah.
So, we want to do that. We got a few minutes still, and I wanted to ask you about some of the other items that
Yeah.
you are collecting, and perhaps I don't know if you also sell or trade those, but since it's video, you want to go ahead and show us some of those things.
Yeah, so you're talking about the Ouija boards before. So I believe this one's 1920s. I have it right here.
1920s Ouija board.
So yeah,
Wow.
1920s right there. It is the old wood. Yeah, with the sun and the moons and the stars right there. As the back, you can't really make out the words on the back, but it's the old wood one. I have another one up there. It's actually a rip off of this one back in the 40s, I believe. Someone, Cop Clark, I believe it was, ripped off William Fold. Yeah, William Fold, and made a board that looked identical to his and sold it. And there had to be a big copyright issue. So I have that one up there next to it because I just think it's funny how they copied each other back then. Here's some ESP cards. These ones are not the normal, what is it? Duke University ones. These ones are actually my friend from that shop I was telling you about, Cleveland Curiosities. He found these and gave them to me. They're ESP cards. They're written on with some type of like wipe away marker from the Psychic Research Institute of America.
Nice.
I'm believing they're around the 70s is when these were around, but I've never seen one like these. There's been a couple other collectors that said they've never seen any like these. They look like they were used multiple times in a psychic research institute. And they're one of my favorite like pieces that I have other than the books. And then I have some fortune telling cards. The ones that are really old and nice, I have up in a big storage box, and they can't really be just shown nicely. But these ones over here, they're from, I believe, the 40, maybe it's like 20s, 30s, 20s. They have all the good luck symbols on them. They actually have the swastika before it was a negative symbol on there.
Oh, I like that.
Along with all the other good luck symbols. They obviously changed them up, along with some of the Ouija boards had that on there after it became a notorious symbol of evil to them. They changed it up and took it off. Right. But it's interesting to see that on something like this, and then some people who don't know what it is originally, they're like, oh, what is that? But I'm like, no, it's just the good luck symbol. I mean, it was in all these traditions and in all these cultures what it was before. Here's a planchette too. It's not to that Ouija board. It looks similar to the one that was on that Ouija board. This one is an older one. It's all wood. And it has the writing on there. It has a little pin in it on the back. I don't know if you can see that very well. But yeah, so I have stuff along both those lines. I have the Duke University ones like that, the classic ESP cards with the blue box. They're up there. Some of the Theosophical magazines from the 1911, Mystic Rays from the Rose Cross, Mystic Light, just magazines framed after I went through them a little bit. And what else do I have? I want to try and get some old tarot cards. I haven't gotten them yet because old tarot cards are extremely expensive. Old crystal balls and pendulums, they are hard to identify if they're authentically old or not, because unlike books and certain things like the cards, they don't have a date stamped onto them, so you can't be sure.
Sure.
I have some newer ones though. There's an active society called the Ethereal Society. They make very nice pendulums. I bought 2 in each color. They're new, brand new, but I still like them. They're framed up there. They believe in UFOs and religion and kind of spirituality all mixed together, kind of like a Theosophical Society. Don't quote me because I haven't gone into their stuff very deeply, but I like them. They are on Instagram and Facebook, I believe, if you want to know more about them. But
well, we're just gonna have to come back and talk more about it.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff that I just can go down different. Rant on about.
No, absolutely, man. It has been an outstanding interview with you, and all I want to say is thank you for listening to my show, because I was really happy to hear the good feedback, and that goes for anyone. But I really appreciate the amazing feedback that you had. And
Yeah,
that,
yeah, when I was,
it just makes me feel good. It really does,
yeah,
because I really try to bring out, not only some of the things I'm passionate about, but I feel other people are passionate about.
yeah.
And when that clicks, it just makes me feel really well. Really,
Yeah,
really
I
good.
remember my mom was telling me about your podcast when I was younger, before I got really into anything. And I was into it still, like I said, but not into collecting. And I remember I was mowing the lawn and I didn't want to stop mowing because it's still going. So I just sit there and wait for it to be over with. And usually I'm running in the house right after it's done. But like I loved it. It really inspired me with a lot of the UFO stuff and realizing uh, different exact names and people's experiences and all that stuff. I loved it, and still have like vivid images from what I was hearing from the podcast. So
That's awesome,
yeah, I'm
man.
happy to be on. It's crazy to think how it's come a circle of me being
Right.
on here and listening to it a long time ago and
Yeah, man.
getting
And
recognition for this
I'm
stuff. I
learning
still
from
feel like
you.
I'm not. Yeah, I feel like I'm not qualified and up there with everybody else,
Oh,
but
please. Trust me, man. This has been an amazing interview, and it's going to probably be one of my favorites. It already is, and a crowd favorite, to boot. And by the way, please let your mom know I said hello.
I will.
I
Right
really
after
do.
this, I'm sure she wants to hear about
Yeah,
it.
I really, really, really do appreciate it, Devin. And man, I just wish we had some more time. But like I said, I definitely would love to have you come back on the show and
Yeah.
just give us some more insight on what you're doing. And one more time, man, just plug away. Where can we find you? Where can we find your books
Yes.
and all that good stuff that's you?
Right now, I'm only on Instagram, selling them. I do on my personal Facebook, but it's everything. There's more stuff on Instagram. One day, I'm sure I'll set up a website or something like that. But right now, I'm on Instagram at ethereal dot period underscore period books. So it's ETHEREAL dot period underscore period books, and that's on Instagram. You PayPal me and I'll send you the book. I'll send you notification of like the shipping numbers and all that, just so it's all official. If anything goes wrong in the package, sometimes UPS can mess things up. I cover
Sure.
that and I don't worry about it. But yeah, that's what I do so far. Maybe one day I'll have a little website or something like that. Um, but yeah, that's that business so far.
No, it's fantastic, man. And everyone out there, please visit Devin and please get some stuff, especially right now. It's the holiday season. Before you know
Yeah.
it, Christmas is right around the corner. So it's the
That sounds
perfect
good.
gift to give for that reason. So there you go. Devin, thanks again for being on the show, man. And we'll definitely keep in touch.
For having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And everyone out there, keep going to beyondstrange.com. I'll be doing shows like this once in a while, and you won't know unless you are subscribed. And definitely subscribe to this channel, share, and what can I say, man? This has been a great time. Guys, have a great night. Thanks again, Devin, and
Thank
we
you.
will see you all again. Hasta, everyone.